The dusty main street of Willow Creek stirred with curiosity the morning Georgia Hale arrived. Her wagon, a small, sturdy thing packed with flour sacks, crates of spices, and a covered box of carefully wrapped baking tools, rolled to a halt right in front of the town's old general store. Folks peeked through windows, heads turned, and before Georgia could even climb down, whispers drifted like tumbleweeds. A baker in Willow Creek. About time someone sweetened this place up. Georgia smoothed her traveling dress, brushed flour dust from her sleeves, and lifted her chin. After months of planning and dreaming, she was finally here to open Hale's Hearth Bakery. She took a deep breath, the scent of fresh pine, warm dust, and possibility, and stepped into her new life. Inside the store, she purchased supplies from Mrs. Porter, who couldn't stop smiling at the newcomer's soft voice and confident hands. As Georgia boxed up sugar jars, a shadow crossed the doorway, broad shoulders, a gleam of a silver badge, and boots that knew authority. Sheriff Tristan Moore stepped inside with the steady calm of a man who'd spent years protecting a small, unpredictable town. He was checking in on the commotion, but when he saw Georgia, something in his stern expression, softened like butter, left near a stove. "You new to town, miss?" he asked. "Just arrived," Georgia replied, wiping her palms. "Georgia Hale, I'll be opening a bakery." "A bakery," Tristan said, blinking. "We haven't had one of those since I was a boy." He paused. "Welcome to Willow Creek." For a moment, they simply stood there, Georgia studying his warm eyes, Tristan taking in her gentle confidence. Something unfamiliar tugged at him, a feeling he hadn't expected to experience again. "Sheriff Moore," she said kindly, "I'll be sure to save you the first slice of pie." And for the first time in a long while, the town's overprotective sheriff felt his guard tremble. Georgia's bakery opened the next morning, and Willow Creek responded like hungry wolves catching the scent of supper. Every seat filled, every tray emptied. The air carried laughter, crumbs, and streaks of sticky berry jam. Children with frosting-smudged cheeks darted between tables, and the older townsfolk lingered just to smell warm bread cooling by the window. Through all of the bustle, Georgia worked with graceful speed, with flour on her fingertips and a smile that calmed even the most impatient customer. She moved from oven to counter like she had been born to do this. But even with her hands full, Georgia noticed one thing. The sheriff passed by a lot. Tristan tried to make his rounds subtle, but subtle was not his strength. He lingered outside the bakery door under the excuse of patrol. Sometimes he stepped inside to check on business. Other times, he simply leaned against the hitching post across the street, pretending to examine the sky. Georgia finally approached him during a quiet moment. She brought out a warm apple tart, wrapped in a cloth. "Sheriff, if you want something, you can just come in and ask." A faint flush climbed Tristan's neck. "I'm just making sure you're settling in. New folks can have a hard time." "That's sweet," Georgia said, her smile softening. "But you don't have to guard my door." Tristan swallowed. "I'm not guarding. Well, maybe I am. Folks here can be forward." Georgia laughed, a warm, lilting sound that hit Tristan like a sunrise after a long, cold night. "Sheriff, I can handle myself." He nodded, though he didn't quite step away. "I know. But I still like keeping an eye out." Georgia handed him the tart. "Then, at least enjoy this while you do." Their fingers brushed. The sheriff's breath hitched, and Georgia felt something warm and unexpected coil through her chest. The peace of Willow Creek cracked just 2 weeks after Georgia's arrival. It began with small things: missing tools, a busted window behind the blacksmith's shop, whispers of a stranger lurking near the creek bed. The townsfolk muttered about mischief, but Tristan felt something worse brewing. Georgia noticed his tension. Every time he walked into the bakery, his posture seemed tighter, jaw clenched, eyes scanning the room before settling on her as if she grounded him. One evening, close to dusk, as Georgia swept her bakery floor, she spotted movement outside, a man lingering near her supply wagon, tugging at a crate of flour. Her heart jolted. Before she could shout, the man jerked the crate free. Then, Tristan appeared out of nowhere. "Drop it," the sheriff ordered, voice like iron. The thief bolted. Tristan spitted. Georgia watched in breathless panic as boots pounded against dirt. They disappeared behind the livery barn, and for a moment she heard only scuffling noises and a sharp grunt. Minutes later, Tristan returned, dragging the thief by the collar. Dust streaked his shirt, and a shallow scrape bled across his forearm. Georgia rushed to him. "You're hurt." "It's nothing," Tristan said, even as the wound dripped. Georgia's eyes narrowed. "Sit." She fetched her medical kit, kept around 4 kitchens, burns, and pressed a clean cloth to his arm. Tristan tried not to wince. "You shouldn't take risks like that," she whispered. "That's my job," Tristan answered softly. "But when I saw him near your wagon, I didn't think. I just ran." Georgia froze, cloth still in her hand. Their eyes locked, and Tristan realized what he had just admitted. He cared on, not just in the sheriff protecting the town way. Georgia felt it too. Her heartbeat fluttered, unsteady, untrained in this new rhythm. "Be careful, Sheriff," she murmured. "I don't want anyone getting hurt over me." Tristan held her gaze. "I'd face worse than this for you." The atmosphere between them shifted after the incident. Georgia found herself thinking of Tristan's quiet strength. The way his voice softened when he spoke to her. The way his hand had brushed hers. And Tristan, well, half the town could see it. His steps always led toward the bakery, as though pulled by instinct. One morning, Georgia arrived early to begin her baking, only to find Tristan already there, leaning on the railing. "You, checking for thieves at dawn now," she teased. "Just making sure you're safe," he said. "And maybe hoping you'd join me for a walk before the day starts." Georgia paused, flour bag in hand, surprised but secretly thrilled. "A walk," Sheriff Moore, stepping away from duty. "For you," he said. "I can spare a few minutes." They strolled behind the bakery toward the river's edge. Willow Creek shimmered with morning light, the surface still as glass. Birds chirped in soft, rhythmic bursts, as though encouraging them forward. Georgia hugged her arms. "I came here to start over. But I didn't expect to find someone who made me feel seen." Tristan faced her slowly. "I've spent years keeping people at arm's length. But you walked into this town in Georgia. You've changed everything." Her breath caught. The sheriff, always steady, always composed, now looked vulnerable. "Tristan," she whispered. He stepped closer, gently brushing a stray curl from her cheek. "I don't want to scare you off. I know you're new here. I know I can come on too strong, but I think—" Georgia placed her hand over his. "You haven't scared me. You've protected me. And more than that, you've made this place feel like home." A slow smile spread across Tristan's face. The moment hung between them, warm, quiet, perfect. And then, with the river glimmering behind them, Tristan leaned in. Georgia met him halfway. Their kiss was soft at first, then deeper, full of all the feelings they hadn't spoken aloud until now. A sheriff's guarded heart and a baker's hopeful soul, finally finding their match. Georgia's bakery became the heart of Willow Creek. And Tristan's visits were no longer just part of his patrol. They were a daily ritual the whole town loved teasing him about. One afternoon, Georgia prepared a basket of treats for Tristan as he finished paperwork in his office. She knocked lightly, and he opened the door with that half-smile that was now reserved only for her. "Brought you something," she said, lifting the basket. He set his papers aside. "I'm starting to think you spoil me, sweetheart. Maybe you deserve it." Tristan pulled her gently inside. "Maybe I just want an excuse to see you more." Georgia blushed, and he cupped her cheek. "You sure you're okay being with the overprotective sheriff? Everyone teases." She laughed. "I like knowing someone cares enough to worry." Tristan kissed her forehead. "Georgia, I don't just worry. He paused, gathering courage. "I love you." Her heart fluttered like a startled dove. She touched his face, eyes warm. "I love you too, Tristan." Outside, Willow Creek bustled like always. But inside that small sheriff's office, the world felt wonderfully still. Tristan drew her into his arms, holding her with a tenderness that no outlaw, no trouble, no past heartbreak could ever shake loose. Georgia rested her head against his chest. "So, does this make me the sheriff's sweetheart?" Tristan laughed softly. "You've been that since the first pie you baked." Their lips met again, sweet, certain, and full of promise. And as the sun dipped toward the horizon, the overprotective sheriff and the baker who stole his heart stood together, ready for every joy and every challenge their new life would bring. Willow Creek finally had its happy ending and its beginning. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Western stories.